Have you ever wondered how a language, once broken by war, rose again to rule the world? How words we speak today were born from battlefields, courage, faith, and dreams. Welcome to Language and Literature Explained, where history and storytelling unite to teach English in the most real and human way possible. If you're a student of literature, a learner of English, or someone fascinated by the past, then this story belongs to you. So take a pen and copy with you, because this lesson carries treasures of meaning and detail that you'll want to remember. And stay till the end, because by the time we finish, you won't just know English literature, you'll feel it. This is not just a lecture, it's a journey. The journey of how England lost its crown, but found its voice. A time when swords fell silent and words began to speak. Let's step into that world where defeat gave birth to destiny. Swords, Part 1. The Norman Invasion, the beginning of a new England, 1066. Our story begins in the year 1066, when England was ruled by King Harold Godwinson, the last of the Saxon kings. He was brave, noble, and loved by his people, a symbol of the old English spirit that had survived through centuries. But across the English Channel, in Normandy, France, another man claimed the same throne, William the Duke of Normandy. William believed that the previous English king, Edward the Confessor, had promised him succession. When Harold was crowned instead, William took it as betrayal. So in the autumn of 1066, William gathered his fleet, crossed the sea, and landed on English soil. The decisive Battle of Hastings was fought on October 14, 1066, one of the most important battles in English history. King Harold fought valiantly, but in the end he was slain. His fall marked not just the end of his reign, but the end of the Anglo-Saxon age. William, the Duke of Normandy, became William the Conqueror, crowned King of England on Christmas Day, 1066, and thus began a new chapter, the Anglo-Norman Period, when English life, language, and literature were transformed forever. Castle, Part 2. A new social and linguistic order. The Norman Conquest didn't just change kings, it changed the very soul of England. The Normans brought with them their French language, Latin learning, and continental culture. Within a few years, England became a trilingual nation. French was spoken by the nobles and the court. Latin became the language of the church, education, and official documents. English remained the speech of common people, simple, rustic, and often ignored. This was the Dark Age for English. The French-speaking nobility looked down upon English as the language of peasants. Old English, the heroic language of Beowulf, nearly disappeared from literature. Yet, beneath the surface, something beautiful was forming. Over the centuries, French words, Latin learning, and English simplicity blended together, giving birth to Middle English. This new English was more flexible, richer in vocabulary, and easier to use, the foundation of modern English. From loss came rebirth. The English people, though conquered, began to shape a new identity through their speech and their stories. Part 3. Religion, Learning, and Morality. In the medieval world, religion was not just a belief, it was the center of life. After the Norman Conquest, the church became the most powerful institution in England. Monasteries served as schools, libraries, and centers of learning. Monks copied manuscripts by hand, preserving Latin works from the ancient world. Most writings were religious or didactic, meant to teach people the path to salvation. Literature of this age had a moral purpose. It told people not just what to believe, but how to live. Writers used stories to explain sin, virtue, and repentance, the eternal struggle of the human soul. Through this period, literature became a mirror of faith, guiding, warning, and inspiring. Horse, Part 4. Features and Themes of Anglo-Norman Literature. The Anglo-Norman period was a bridge between two worlds, the heroic spirit of the Saxons and the elegance of the French. Its literature carries both strength and refinement. Let's explore its key features and themes. Trilingual character. The literature of this time was influenced by three languages: Latin, French, and English. This mixture made English richer and more expressive than ever before. Religious and moral tone. Most works aimed to teach moral values, emphasizing faith, humility, and divine justice. Allegory. Abstract ideas like sin, virtue, or death were turned into characters. This made literature symbolic and deeply meaningful. Chivalry and courtly love. Influenced by French culture, writers glorified bravery, loyalty, and noble love. The knight became an ideal figure, pure, brave, and faithful. Adventure and quest. Many tales followed heroes on spiritual or physical journeys, testing their courage and virtue. Faith and the afterlife. Life was seen as a passage toward heaven or hell. Every story carried a moral message. Emerging social awareness. Some works began to reflect on society's corruption, inequality, and moral decline. Language transition. The blending of French and English formed Middle English, simple yet powerful, poetic yet clear. These features made the Anglo-Norman period a foundation stone for all later English literature. Part 5. Medieval Romance, the Spirit of Chivalry. One of the most fascinating forms of literature in this age was the medieval romance. A romance wasn't just a love story, it was a tale of adventure, bravery, and moral testing. Knights rode out on dangerous quests, facing monsters, temptations, and moral challenges. Through these stories, writers celebrated chivalry, the moral code of knights, courage, loyalty, and honor. These romances taught that true greatness came not from power, but from virtue. Famous examples include Tristan and Isolde, a tragic story of love and destiny. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, where a knight faces a supernatural challenge that tests his integrity. These tales captured the imagination of medieval England and brought storytelling closer to the people's hearts. Masque, Part 6. Mystery, Miracle, and Morality Plays. While romances entertained the nobles, drama began to entertain and educate the common people. In the beginning, priests performed short plays inside churches to teach biblical stories. These were called mystery plays because they dramatized the mysteries or sacred stories of faith, like the creation, the flood, or the resurrection. Soon, these performances moved outside the churches. Trade guilds, groups of local craftsmen, began to perform them on carts in public squares. Each guild took one story. Bakers performed the Last Supper. Carpenters acted Noah's Ark. They were educational, joyful, and deeply spiritual. Alongside mystery plays came miracle plays, which depicted the lives and miracles of saints. And later, morality plays appeared, where characters like virtue, vice, or everyman symbolized moral truths. The most famous morality play, Everyman, teaches that when death comes, only good deeds will follow us, not wealth or status. These dramas laid the foundation for all later English theater, from the mystery cycles of York to the plays of Shakespeare. Pen, Part 7. Major Writers and Their Works. Now let's meet the great voices of this era, writers who gave English literature its direction. William Langland, 1330 to 1386. His masterpiece, Piers Plowman, is one of the most powerful moral allegories ever written. It follows a dreamer's search for truth and faith in a corrupt world. Through Piers, a humble plowman, Langland symbolizes honest labor and Christian virtue. He blended the old alliterative verse of the Saxons with a new moral vision, linking the past and future of English poetry. John Gower, 1330 to 1408. Gower was a friend of Chaucer and one of the most educated poets of his time. He wrote in 3 languages, French, Latin, and English, showing the trilingual nature of his age. His great work, Confessio Amantes, presents moral tales told by a lover confessing to the priest of love. It blends wisdom, virtue, and human emotion in a poetic balance. Geoffrey Chaucer, 1343 to 1400. Known as the father of English poetry, Chaucer transformed Middle English into a language of elegance and power. His masterpiece, The Canterbury Tales, brings together pilgrims from every class of society: knights, merchants, clerks, and nuns, each telling their story with humor, honesty, and depth. Through his poetry, English gained prestige, and the voice of the people entered literature forever. Conclusion. The Anglo-Norman period began with defeat, but ended in rebirth. A foreign tongue ruled the land, yet out of that struggle, English was reborn, stronger, deeper, and universal. It was an age of faith, courage, and transformation. From William's sword to Chaucer's pen, England learned that real power lies not in conquest, but in expression. So, as you study this period, remember, this was not just history. It was the awakening of a language, a nation, and a voice that would one day speak to the entire world. Thank you for watching Language and Literature Explained. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe, because our journey through English literature has just begun. Together, we'll keep discovering the stories that built the language we live in today.